fell in love with him and his beautiful daughters. He came to the Wave and shared what really was on his heart concerning this. And I think, Kurt, you and I were absolutely astounded that we hadn't really heard much about this situation with the fashion industry and the over-pesticide use of cotton, specifically. So, Justin, just a brief outline of how you just suddenly got aware of this and it went into your heart and into your spirit to do something about it.
Yeah. I was putting together an online business and it was promoting clothing. Something in my head said, no, it's got to be organic and it's got to be ethical. I've read reports by one or two prominent NGOs, and I read some stories which just shocked me. You know, I'm a father, wow, and I've got two little girls, as I say, as you mentioned, and stories about a farmer spraying his crops, throwing his coat on the top of his hut, it raining, and then the water coagulating on the coat, dripping down to his children from the rain.
Oh, wow.
He's been out soaking with pesticide from spraying his crops, yep, and his children 5 days later, no more. Dead.
Wow. Those stories are so gripping, and you just think that this just like, you can't really believe it, can you?
No, and I just thought, I wish I could do something.
Yeah.
What countries, Justin, are we looking at that are predominantly the main ones that are suffering?
Well, it's pretty much where cotton's been grown. So you're looking at India,
yep,
looking at Africa, looking at China,
yep,
even America.
Yep.
It's, you know, like you said in the intro, mm-hmm, you know, it is the most heavily used fabric which we use. It's the most heavily pesticided crop which we grow. And it's just appalling what is going on. You know, people are suffering so much so we can sit here and look good. Yeah. Well, this really shocked me. So basically, if it wasn't for war, we wouldn't have pesticide. Because during war, they developed chemical weapons. And then the war was over. And then there's all this stockpile of chemical weapons, which they, thankfully, most of us didn't use. What can we use this for? This is a nerve agent. Ah, right, if we dilute this down, it will work on insects.
So this because of stockpiling?
Yeah. So if we dilute this down, we can use it on insects, on crops, and then the insects die, and then, hey, the crops grow. But then you eat the crops.
Yes, wow.
But the people are spraying that stuff onto the crops, and we're talking about cotton here, the fashion industry being, you know, as so huge as it is, it's affecting people's health. And there's the pollution, there's the effects it has on communities. It's like a cancer.
Yeah.
So you've travelled to some places.
Yeah.
And you've been really shocked with what you've seen.
Yeah. We went to West Africa. That was an amazing journey, and got some incredible stories to tell you, and we've got some bits coming up about that trip. But no, quite astonishing, humbling, incredibly humbling. You know, watching these guys spraying their crops. We saw a pesticide farmer spraying his crop, conventional, and then we were meeting with farmers who had transferred from conventional pesticide growing to organic crop growing, cotton growing, and they used natural products to create the pesticide.
So there is a possibility, and it is successful to use organic, non-pesticide. Well, we're just kind of doing a summary of this before we go on to some of the visuals.
So what about this documentary that you're working on? When I first met you, you know, at our church, in fact, I was so impressed by it that we played it for everybody. I think I was preaching on, as you know, as Christians, we meet together to encourage one another for noble activities. And I said, well, this counts as a noble activity. And tell us about the documentary, because we're going to see a trailer promoting it just now.
Yeah. So let me just say something. So actually what happened is you were so affected by this that your action for that was to actually say, okay, I'm going to do a documentary to expose it. Is that right?
Yeah, it's not just me. I met up with an old friend I hadn't seen for 11 years, and we met up, as by chance I was going to Stockholm, and he was living in Stockholm. And we hadn't seen each other for 11 years. And I said, I'm in the XYZ hotel, fine, no worries, Justin, I'll meet you there. And he said, from 100 yards, I could tell it was you. Anyway, so we meet up, we're talking about 11 years of our past history, what we've been doing. I told him, I was putting together this business about, you know, organic clothing, about, you know, children's clothing. Something in my head note said, no, it can't be conventional, you know, regular, you know, high margin stuff. It's got to be ethical. Okay, it's got to be ethical. I then, okay, what is ethical clothing? What makes ethical clothing? Oh, it's organic. Okay, so what's organic? It's more pesticides. What are pesticides? I know what pesticides are, but what do? They do that. Oh, that's horrible. Right? So I was telling him about this stuff. He said, because he was starting, you know, doing film and documentary, and he went, that'd make a really good film. And I went, it would. And then a week later, we're texting back and forth, what should we do? What do you think? Blah, 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 blah. And I went, so we just kind of went, let's do it.
I didn't know this. Just like a lot of people can say, well, I didn't know I have to pay my taxes. It's something that you just don't know. So I was shocked, you know, where that question is directly to me, you know, who died to clothe you, Kurt Kettner-Burrow or Melanie or Justin? And of course, it just begs something that we have to do something about it. But how do we protest this? How do we do something about it? It's not just people dying. It's, for example, you know, 3 billion tons of soot every year from burning coal, contaminating the air, leading to respiratory and heart disease. According to the World Bank, 72 toxic chemicals in the water supply are from textile dyeing. An estimated 90% of groundwater is polluted due to the release of contaminated water. And you can go on and on and on. And this is all done in the name of profit, really. If you look at it in its essence, it's all done in the name of profit, period, and something has to change, and we can change it fairly easily. Fairly easily. It's an achievable goal, but because of some, I don't know, you want to call them like demonic companies. I'm not going to name names.
No, you're not going to.
You know, but people that are just doing this, like pharmaceutical companies addicting people to Oxycontin and so on. No, there's some pretty evil, institutionalized evil, as I'll call it, that has to be held to account by us.
It was quite a journey.
We have some photos. Let's put them up right now. Let's put up our photos right now, and we'll talk through them.
Talk over them, yeah?
Yeah, there we go. Tell us about that.
This is, I was got a bit worried, actually, because this was the first, we'd gone 600 miles to get to this point, and this was our first visit to the cotton fields. So I was really very excited about this. So we're going on this road, and there are these two huge, great big trucks, and the roads are rutted. I mean, seriously rutted. It's actually quite a bumpy.
Motorcycle.
So this is how they get around. But we thought we were going to miss it. We won't be able to get to the cotton field. And these guys came up. We know the way, and they directed us. So I was like, "Thank you, God, thank you, thank you, thank you." Really quite stressed. Like, if we can't get past these trucks, we're stuffed. You know.
And then what are you doing on the water there?
So this is where we place where we stayed on the way back, and it's called the Venice of Africa. And it's a whole village on this huge, great big inland lake, and that's the school run.
So you travel by plane, lorry, motorbike, and then boat.
There's a plane, train, automobile. That's the church. That's the church.
So would this water be polluted by pesticides? I wonder.
Well, we weren't near any pesticides, any cotton growing areas there. And that's the petrol station.
The petrol station.
So that's where you fill up your car by the road. They've got bottles. Very enterprising people. Crikey. I mean,
and what's he packing on the top?
That's his takeaway.
Takeaway.
Well, we're going along. This guy was tying a goat to the top of his truck. I was like, "You're tying? It's alive."
So he likes his meat fresh.
He likes the meat fresh.
Oh, there you go.
These were the kids. They were great. They were so cute. Little guy, bottom right hand side, little pale baby blue. He was super, super cute. And I was just messing around doing my Donald Duck voice for I do with my kids when they were younger. That sort of thing. And they just loved it, you know. And it's the kids would just always shine. They always shine, don't they?
So when you looked at those kids and you heard the stories of farmers committing suicide, because they're in debt, because they can't pay for what they expected. So what's the deal with the suicides? Because we just heard that now.
This is more in India. And you were quoting some stuff from China earlier on, what's going on with the groundwater there. But in India, it's to do with the seeds and climate. So the farmers buy all these seeds and they buy the pesticide, but the crop doesn't manifest itself to the quota which they need. So they've taken out the loan to buy the seeds, etc.
And the pesticide.
And the pesticide. and the crop doesn't produce. So they then got their debtors saying, hey, hang on, you owe us, we're talking about $500.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
$500.
Wow.
Right? Thereabouts.
And they take their lives.
And they take their life and they drink that stuff.
No.
And I've seen a photo, I've been trying to find it. A photo of a guy, the death throes of a guy. It just brings,
No, we don't want to even go there right now.
and it's just
too much,
horrific,
yeah.
you know? So we can do this.
Yes, yeah.
Sorry, I just get
Wow.
very passionate.
No,
but, you
no,
know.
of course. I mean, you've been there, you've seen it, you've heard
Yeah.
the stories. Of course you're passionate about it. No wonder you're doing a documentary about it.
Yeah.
So now what about the others that are slowly dying? So is there a lot of medical treatment for them? Because obviously when you've been slowly poisoned, there's obviously a lot of medical bills, there's a lot of going to doctors, maybe you can't work, you're suffering. So what is happening with that?
Well, there are hospitals and visited hospital. And there was a bit of a language barrier going on there. So it's French and the dialect.
So you went to visit one of these hospitals?
Yeah, sadly at the time we couldn't actually get access into one of the wards themselves. But what we do know is that the pesticide poison, the acute pesticide poison, the symptoms are nausea, vomiting, headaches, stomach cramps. Some people are immobilized by this stuff.
And do they know that it's actually the pesticides that are making them ill, or do they just think they're ill? Do you think they're catching on?
It's difficult to say.
Because sometimes you can
They will know that, I mean, so the farmer who was in the still there, and we've got a clip of him being interviewed, we said to him, this is actually was quite dramatic, we said to him, do you realise you're walking towards an early grave? He was like, yes.
Yeah.
3 children.
Yes.
3 children in where he lives. And it was his 10th when he was going to his farm. And we were with this, an amazing lady who got us around all the right farmers in the fields, and she could, help him. And we said, but don't you love your children, your wife? Yes, I do. And he just stopped. I'm so frustrated. Well, it's happening on film, but he said, that's it.
Yeah.
No more.
Well,
So just to say, so he basically, on that understanding, decided he's not going to use those poisonous pesticides, but he was going to choose an organic alternative.
Yeah, and
we're going to see some
enable
clips.
that.
We're going to see some films right now, Melanie, that explains it.
Good.
Yeah, we're going to show about 3 videos of testimonies, just very short, but that address some of the questions and the answers that you're talking about. And we'll go to our first one right now.
I think you're dizendo. I think you're a phone. You don't do that with me. You don't come to geologia. Ni geologia. Basiton. Perito no comendo meu. No comendo no jizo. Ainda eu fui mais antibiotica, you know. Não do that with me.
I mean, look, what he says is each time he sprays, and I don't know how much, every time he sprays, a lot, he takes antibiotics, your body builds up a resistance to that, etc. I'm sure you could say, well, wear a mask, but then where does he get the money to buy the mask? Are they even sold there? And you have these challenges, but still, this is hundreds of thousands of workers around the world in low-income countries are facing this problem. Is there like safety devices that they can put on to protect themselves?
Well, you're talking about a very hot climate.
Oh, yes.
Very hot climate.
Yes.
And we had kind of suits and stuff because you don't want that stuff in your face. You don't want to be inhaling this stuff. You've got organophosphates, just nasty, nasty toxins. And so, they're out there as they are, unprotected. So it's going on their skin. The skin's the biggest organ in your body.
Yes.
You're sweating.
Yes.
It's coming with the sweat.
It's going straight in.
Going straight in. And then, it's quite horrifying because you don't want to be, if you're in the garden and you get some pesticide or insecticide on your spray, you've got, wash that off. But they just keep on walking down the field, spraying this stuff, and it's going back, back, back. Skin, mouth, inhalation, contamination, Then you've got the wind.
This is a nerve agent that they're spraying, basically.
Yes, dilute a nerve agent.
Okay.
Wow.
The obvious question. We've seen 2 videos, 2 real live farmers, and they're saying their lives have changed radically, okay, because of organic farming. Why isn't everybody in India and China and Africa doing it?
Well, it's a very good question. We need to up the demand for a product. So it's supply and demand. So fast fashion, turn around very, very quick, 52 seasons a year. You can go down to the shops and get a great new outfit for about, next to nothing. It's so cheap, you can wear it and throw it in the bin the next day. And we've got a society which wants to keep looking good all the time. So companies are using the quickest, easiest material at the lowest cost, at the lowest price. Stretch out to you've got the likes of countries who are trying to reduce the cost base of their manufacturing and advertise the fact they're going to charge, pay their workers the least. So they're more attractive to the fashion houses to get their garments made there. But organic cotton, it's definitely the way forward.
Does it take longer? It's the same seed, but it's just a different way of treating any insects or anything that are coming to destroy the crop. What about the pricing of the organic? What about the teaching of the people? Who's actually doing the teaching of the people? Obviously, we saw those testimonies. That woman lost her child at 7 months.
It's horrible. Really quite moving stories. Well, the great thing is that where we were in Africa, there's an organisation which, and through an NGO, sponsor, and they started with 2,000, 3,000. Now they've got 4,000 farmers who they sponsor using using natural pesticide, and we've got a clip about that coming up. And so those families, those communities have been transformed. So the average, a farmer who uses conventional pesticide, 70% of his income will be spent on pesticide.
70% of his income.
So if you think about, all of a sudden, you're taking 70% of your expenditure out, and you're using something which is made locally, naturally grown, and is, without the stuff in it. Hey, I've got more money coming in. So you've seen communities which are able to invest in their communities. Schools. There was one place where there's a centre have been built for new mothers, maternity centre, And so, do you think this is the way forward? Absolutely, it's the way forward.
A community.
They can actually invest and they can buy the pots and pans.
Yes. Do you think that we need more people understanding science and chemistry to solve this issue? After seeing that insert, what do you say?
No, that's a great question. But I was touched on earlier on, there are advances being made. I'm going to say a few things. I'm going to reiterate the fact of going to buy organic cotton, because if people start moving, okay, you're in the supermarket and you're going to buy coffee, you're going to buy chocolate, you're going to buy bananas. Fair trade, fair trade, fair trade.
Right.
I want organic to become as prominent as fair trade.
Okay, that's good. I like that.
I want it to be, because there's a cost. Okay, people buy fair trade.
Now,
they're being paid the right amount of money.
Exactly. That's your selling point.
Exactly. This is such a broad subject.
Yes.
And you can point to various things, but it's like, if you can afford it, find the right place to buy organic, do so. Increase it.
So
take yourself out of the buying system. Go to charity shops, buy second-hand, reuse your clothes, buy quality items which are going to last. Look after your clothes, mend them, make them last. It's not a throwaway item. We have a throwaway society. We've got, I think in the US, 90 billion clothes are thrown away each year.
Wow.
All right? So they're going into, you've got a worldwide problem. You've got a worldwide problem. So this stuff is going to landfill. And you've got synthetics in there. And you've got oil in there. Because synthetics are made from oil.
Mess.
Right? You're going back into the ground.
Yes.
Making more problems.
Yes.
Whatever gases they produce, I don't know, but it's not going to be good.
Okay, so
that's going back up to,
So I'm going to ask you, we just got like a minute and a half left. So we have 6,000 of our viewers that are really committed to, to watching programs and responding and everything, and they have the ability to be able to spread news to other places. What would you say to our viewers in the light of your putting a documentary together? What would you say to them?
50 seconds to say it.
If I'm asking you, just a quick, like, what would you like them to do? What do you think they could do?
Buy organic cotton.
Buy organic, yep.
Don't buy so many clothes, buy second-hand clothes.
Okay.
Go to charity shops, thrift shops.
Yep.
Mend them, keep them. You know, it's not fast fashion.
Okay.
No,
and spread the word of how
spread
bad
the word
this is.
and
Okay,
help
good.
us.
All right. Good, thank you. Justin, we want to just say thank you so much for being on the program with us. We are just so delighted. We love you. We love your family. This message is absolutely heart-wrenching, so we want to get the message out to you. Kurt, you may...